We're looking at homework for section 9.2. This is question number 5. Find the equation of the regression line for the given data. Then construct a scatter plot of the data and draw the regression line. The pair of variables have a significant correlation. Then use the regression equation to predict the value of y for each of the given x values, if meaningful. The number of hours 6 students spent for a test and their scores on that test are shown below. So the first question is find the regression line. We're going to use a table to help us organize our process. So we're going to create a table where we have these 6 x values and 6 y values. But then we're also going to add a row in the table for x times y and a row for x squared because we need that information to help us find m and b. So the first new row that we have is for x times y. So we're going to take each x value and multiply it to its y value. 0 times 39 is 0. 2 times 44 is 88. 2 times 51 is 102. 3 times 47 is 141. 5 times 65 is 325. And 6 times 72 is 432. Now we need to square each x value. 0 squared is 0. 2 squared is 4. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. And 6 squared is 36. So now we have multiplied all that we need to multiply. Now we need to take each row and add it up. So if we add up our 6 x values, they add up to 18. Our 6 y values add up to 318. Our 6 x times y values add up to 1088. And our 6 x squared values add up to 78. So those are the 4 numbers that we need to help us compute the m and b value. We'll keep those values here on the side as a reference. Now we're going to find the value of m. The formula for m is that m equals n times the sum of x times y minus the sum of x times the sum of y divided by n times the sum of x squared minus the sum of the x's squared. So we can start inserting these numbers where n is equal to 6. Remember, n is the number of data points. So we get 6 times 1088 minus 18 times 318 over 6 times 78 minus 18 squared. We do these 4 multiplications. 6 times 1088 is 6,528 minus 18 times 318 is 5,724. 6 times 78 is 468, and 18 squared is 324. We do these 2 subtractions, and we get 804 over 144, which reduces to 67 over 12. So that is our slope value. They want it in decimal form, rounded to 3 places. So when we round that off to 3 places, we get 5.583. So that's the first part of our regression line equation. So now we're going to try to find b. The formula for b is that it's the sum of the y's divided by n minus m times the sum of the x's divided by n. So the m is the value we just found in that first process we were doing. And we begin inserting these other numbers. So that's going to be 318 divided by 6 minus 67 twelfths times 18 over 6. Notice I'm not using the rounded version of the m value. I'm not using the 5.583 because that is a rounded decimal, which would be a little bit inaccurate to use. So I would much rather use the fractional value and then round at the end if I need to. We simplify this. 318 divided by 6 is 53. Then we have 18 over 6 is 3, and when we reduce that with the 67 twelfths, it ends up being 53 minus 67 fourths. As a decimal, that's 53 minus 16.75, which ends up being 36.25. That's the value for b. So now we have our regression line equation. Y hat equals 5.583x plus 36.25. Next, we need to choose the correct graph here. Well, when we look at this regression line equation, we notice that it has a positive slope. Positive slope means that the graph will be going up from left to right. So that eliminates graph A and it eliminates graph B. Then our regression line equation will have 2 points where x is equal to 2. So if we look on the graph, graph C has, this is where x is 1, where x is 2, where x is 3. It has 2 points where x is 3, but it doesn't have 2 points where x is 2. So that means graph C is eliminated. So the correct choice here is graph D. Then we're supposed to make predictions. So we're going to predict the value of y for x equals 2. All that means is insert 2 into this y hat equation that we found. So y hat equals 5.583x plus 36.25. We replace the x with a 2, so it's 5.583 times 2 plus 36.25. We multiply the 5.583 times 2, and we get 11.166 plus 36.25. Add those together, and y hat equals 47.416. That is choice C. We have a few more predictive values that we're supposed to do. Predict the value of y for x equals 2.5. So same process, but now we're replacing the x with 2.5. So y hat equals 5.583x plus 36.25, which is 5.583 times 2.5 plus 36.25. We do the multiplication and we get 13.9575 plus 36.25, which is 50.2075. That's choice A. For C, predict the value for x equals 13. This one's a little different, and the reason that it's different is when we have these regression line equations that are going to predict the value of y for us, they only work within a short range. And the range they work within is within that range of the data that we were given. So we were given data values between 0 and 6. So these are really only going to be valid between 0 and 6. Might be a little more on the left and a little more on the right, but it won't be very far outside that region. So you could probably get away with 0 to 7. You can't go -1 because this represents hours. But you could probably fudge a little bit on the outside. But if you get too far away from the 0 to 6 range, then this is not applicable anymore. So 13 is way outside of that interval from 0 to 6. So since it's so far outside, the prediction that we would get using the y hat equation wouldn't be meaningful. And that's choice D. For part D, predict the value for x equals 1.5. Now 1.5 is in that 0 to 6 range, so this is going to be just fine. Y hat equals 5.583x plus 36.25. We replace the x with the 1.5. When we multiply the 5.583 times 1.5, we get 8.3745, and we add the 36.25, which gives us 44.6245, and that answer would be answer B. That's your answer.